My neighbor invited me for a walk, and you won't believe what transpired. I never truly focused on my neighbor, not in the manner I ought to have, at the very least, for years. We coexisted in close proximity, sharing courteous nods and the occasional wave over the fence. He was constantly occupied with various tasks, trimming hedges, washing his car, bringing in groceries, and I suppose I was as well. Life had a way of maintaining a barrier between us, even when we were merely a few feet apart, but that shifted on an unremarkable Tuesday morning. I was setting out for my regular stroll, the brisk autumn breeze enveloping me like a familiar companion, the leaves crunched beneath my feet, and I could hear the distant, faint hum of a lawnmower somewhere far away. As I secured my front door, I noticed him lingering at the edge of his driveway, his hands buried deep in the pockets of his jacket. "Morning," he said, his voice imbued with a warmth that caught me off guard. "Good morning," I said with a warm smile. He paused briefly, then gestured toward the street. "Do you mind if I join you?" I found myself unexpectedly surprised, yet there was an ease to his presence that felt almost like home. "Of course," I remarked, adjusting my bag on my shoulder. "I could use the company." And just like that, we found our rhythm in unison. The initial few blocks buzzed with casual conversation, discussing the weather, local gossip, and the transformations happening in the town. I discovered his name, Michael, and he discovered mine. It was odd to acknowledge how little we truly understood one another, even though we were so near. "Each morning, I've noticed you walking," he remarked, his voice calm and unwavering. "I've often considered joining you, but I hesitated because I didn't want to impose. I cast a fleeting look his way, absorbing the creases framing his eyes, the manner in which he regarded the world with a subtle, inquisitive wonder. "It's not an intrusion," I stated. "At times, it feels comforting to have a companion by your side as you stroll." As we moved through the well-known areas of our neighborhood, a sense of change enveloped me. With him by my side, I began to observe the nuances I typically missed. The sunlight weaving through the branches, the subtle scent of moist soil lingering after the previous night's downpour. He highlighted aspects I had never considered, and in that moment, the world appeared more vibrant and abundant. As we strolled, our discussions delved into profound territories. He reminisced about his late wife, describing how the house seemed overwhelmingly large in her absence, and how he occupied himself to escape the haunting silence. I revealed fragments of my own existence as well, my challenges, my happiness, the instances of solitude that occasionally felt all-consuming. In our honesty, there was a soothing presence, a mutual recognition that we were each traversing life in our own subtle manners. As we arrived at the far end of the park, the sun began its descent, casting gentle shades of pink and orange across the sky. We lingered on a bench, observing the world unfold around us in a serene silence. "I think I needed this," he said after a long pause, his gaze fixed on the horizon. I nodded, fully grasping his meaning. "Same here." As we began the walk back, our steps became slower, more intentional. The dialogue turned to more cheerful topics. The novels we had explored, the destinations we had visited, the aspirations we continued to cherish. I found myself laughing more, feeling lighter than I had in a long time. When we finally reached our houses, there was a moment of hesitation between us. I sensed a change in the atmosphere, a silent recognition of what had developed between us during that one walk. "Same time tomorrow?" he inquired, his gaze probing into mine. A smile crept across my face, as a warmth enveloped me. "I would appreciate that," and just like that, a new tradition was born. As we stroll alongside one another, revealing fragments of our souls with each stride, we discover comfort in the serene pauses that unite us. Reflecting on our journey, I recognize how effortlessly we can neglect those nearest to us, mistaking them for mere shadows in the tapestry of our existence. Yet, at times, a mere stroll can serve as a gentle reminder that connection is perpetually accessible, and perhaps it's never too late to embark on a new journey. Weeks have passed, and our walks have transformed into the pinnacle of my days. The sharpness of autumn's breath grew more pronounced, and before long, the initial whispers of winter began to weave into the dawns. We bundled up in scarves and gloves, yet we walked side by side, step by step. One morning, as we passed the old bookstore on the corner. When Michael suddenly stopped, "Ever been inside?" he asked, tilting his head toward the shop. I shook my head. "It has been quite some time, let's change that," he said with a smile. As the door swung open, a warm embrace of aged paper and fresh coffee welcomed us into the inviting space. As we meandered through the aisles, we highlighted cherished classics, unearthed fresh titles, and exchanged nostalgic recollections ignited by the books we encountered. It felt effortless, instinctive, as if we had been engaged in this for ages. As we departed, he presented me with a book he had chosen, a compilation of poetry. He said, his eyes twinkling, "Thought you might like this." I clutched the book to my chest, moved by the uncomplicated act. "Thank you very much." That night, as I nestled into the pages of the book, a revelation dawned on me. Our walks had transformed into something deeper than mere exercise or a pause from the mundane. They became moments of connection, discovery, and serene companionship that filled a void I hadn't known existed. As I gazed out my window toward his house, a gentle wave of gratitude washed over me for the unexpected friendship that had flourished from something as simple as a morning stroll.